Welcome back, guys. Another episode, another day here with Minnesota left-handers. We got a new guest, or not a new guest, a renewed guest, a previous guest that was on our show that's now here. I don't know where I was going with that one, but yeah, it's Utility Sports. These guys are a big deal. Check these guys out on YouTube. Austin and Sheldon. Sheldon's not here. Austin from Utility Sports is here with us, joining us, blessing us with his presence. What do you got for us today, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be a part of the Minnesota Left-Handers crew temporarily. This is a growing brand. I'm just waiting for the merch in the mail. It should be here any day. I gotta represent out there, but I'm just excited to be here. Got a good group of guys. I'm ready to get this show on the road.
And always,
the man needs a golf towel. The man needs a golf towel.
We got to get him out to that event. And what better transition? Nate Doimer, tell us what's going on with the Minnesota left-handers.
Yes, back. Happy to be here. New mic, some new equipment. Hopefully, I'm a little clearer, a little crisper. 18 short days. Our second event, first indoor event, xgolf Blaine, two-person best ball event. Doesn't matter if you bring a righty, bring a lefty, just bring a friend. $80 a person, $160 as a team. We are filling up fast, but you should know that if you are one of the first 8 teams to sign up, you get a buy one, get one for an hour of simulator time to be used at a later date, not at the time of the event. But what a cool thing. I'm so looking forward to it. You can sign up at mnlefthanders@gmail.com. Reach out quick. Spaces are filling up.
I can't wait for that. It's gonna be awesome. And pre before it starts, you can go there, warm up, do all that fun stuff. But we're gonna be doing a podcast before the show too.
Yeah, event starts at 3. I don't know if I mentioned this just now, but 3 to 6, 3 hours. Brett and I, are gonna be there at 1:30. Kind of probably do about an hour. We'll kind of pull some people in to chat a little bit about xgolf and what they love about simulator golf in Minnesota when we're stuck indoors. So it should be a great time. I'm super looking forward. They are super accommodating and got a great spot for us already set aside to set up in our podcast and just kind of invite everyone who comes in. So it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, we got 3 other teams that should be joining up by Friday. So I mean that puts our count up in the double digits, I do believe now. After we get those teams up there, and it's like you say, it's a 2-person, 24 spots. I mean, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait. So it's gonna be interesting lugging all the computer equipment over there, trying to do a live podcast and at xgolf in a public spot. Never done that at a bar yet, so that'll be fun too.
And one more thing here, quick, Austin. I don't mean to brag, but about 2 weeks after this event on January 15th, Brett and I are heading to Arizona. Just saying.
Wow. Well, thank you. I'm glad that I got left out. I didn't get the memo there. It's okay though. It's fine. I'll let it slide this time.
We're gonna play some golf. It'll be a good time.
Austin, tell us about your golf game. When's the last time you picked up the sticks?
No, it's been quite a while here. I mean, the last time I've had any golf action was Top Golf a couple months ago. That was a good time. Not the real deal, but you're still swinging the club. So had a good time with that. Golf games is pretty weak, but if you get me drunk enough, that'll I think my play picks up a little bit. To be honest with you, I think I play a little more loose. And yeah, I was on the course in the Kimball Country Club once this summer, so had a good time there.
I really like Kimball. It's a lot like the course that I grew up at. Some good hills. You got some blind tee shots and stuff, but I've always been pretty pleased with the course as a whole. So a good place to go. And on Top Golf, I don't know if you would consider that your introduction to the game of golf or not, but what a great way to introduce people to the game. It's kind of darts, it's kind of bowling. It's a fun deal. I love that place.
Right. Yeah. I mean, overall, what a better way of people that are, kind of dipping their toe in the water a little bit. Just such a good time because there's, a lot of different games you can play. I mean, you have drinks there, you got food. So it's like it definitely has like a bowling vibe. I think that was a really great way of accurately describing the experience. Except I think it's a lot better than bowling. To be completely frank, I'm sorry for the bowlers listening, but I have a lot more fun going to Top Golf than I do bowling. So overall, I think it's a great experience through and through for sure.
Were you upper deck or were you ground
Upper
level?
deck, yep,
Oh
we
yeah,
were upper deck. Yeah,
that's the way to
that's the
go.
way to go for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, I have a great time with it. I know people that are first starting to get into it. I think that's where they should start. You know, if they want to just go for the social aspect, 100% great place to be.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do this. Let's jump right into the live golf scene here and get this out of the way. Nate, I know you got some questions for me. I don't know how up and up you guys are on the live golf. We're kind of at a golf standstill right now until what, next week. The PGA Tour should have an event going on then, but really we're not looking at live stuff until you get into February here. We got their schedule pulled up, and they got 7 events coming up from February to August. Little spaced out, 2 in April. Other than that, it's just one event a month here, starting out with Mayakoba in Mexico.
Yeah, the PGA Tour definitely gets a jump. This is our last week for something like 37 weeks without any, or like where we don't have golf. They head to Hawaii for the like official open to the season. We've talked in our podcast a lot about the fall series, sort of the soft open to the season, right? But the big names show up, and the big money and the big events start really happening Thursday, or yeah, this next Thursday at the Century Tournament of Champions, where this has changed a little bit, but basically what it is if you won a tournament last year, you're invited to this one. What I love about this is that between this event and the following event are both in Hawaii, which means that we get prime time live golf. It finishes here at like 9 p.m., which is super cool. I love that. So, but looking at, the jump that the PGA Tour gets against live golf, do you think that kind of throws a little bit of a wet blanket onto any fire that live has?
I don't know. It's their whole thing is less golf, right? We want to play less golf and make more money, which I don't know. And that leads me into our set list for some other questions that you got for me about Greg Norman and the other guy's name that starts with a K.
Yeah, who stepped down. And Austin, feel free to dive in here at any moment. I believe he was the COO, the Chief Operating Officer of Live Golf, and after one season, he stepped down. Is this a burgeoning brand when your COO steps down after 1 year, or not?
Right. I mean, that's not a good look. Obviously, I was not aware of that, but I mean, after 1 year, now we gotta look at it from a holistic standpoint. Was it within himself to make that decision to step down? Was there some unreal expectations set by Live Golf to make some things happen that were maybe unobtainable? I think that's a question we have to ask ourselves. What was the amounting pressure for whether it be ratings and certain things or however they wanted to play out? I think that there's an unbelievable amount of pressure on those heading Live Golf to make this work because of the financial implications that follow in terms of what they've invested into it. Now, to go up against an established brand essentially with the PGA Tour is almost unfair, but they have made that financial commitment to go ahead and compete right away, something that's been built over many, many years, as far back as PGA goes, to be able to start up in 1 year and essentially compete head to head is unreal. So that would be like if you take the XFL after one season saying, hey, go head to head with the NFL. We're going to throw you guys like, we're going to lure in Devontae Adams, we're going to lure in Aaron Rodgers, and we're going to lure in Josh Allen as some of your big names. However, you're expecting something that had zero, zero following to all of a sudden compete head to head with the PGA, I think is unfair completely. But once again, they've done a nice job marketing themselves.
They have. Brett, I don't know. I think, does it still come down to the broadcast deal, the market, or the TV deal?
I don't. Well, and we were talking about this earlier. We've had a lot of big, semi-big names, some older names jump ship and join Live. I think there's a few names that they still need to grow this into something a little bit bigger, because no one's gonna see, like Tom Kim, how he just kind of started flashing up, becoming a bigger name, growing through the PGA Tour. I don't think you're gonna have a guy like that and see a guy like that and Live to make it like a big following. Oh my God, this guy's getting really huge in Live, versus like a Tom Kim that's getting really huge in the PGA. So these guys need to have something to make this a bigger deal. They're one step away, and I thought it was that broadcast deal, but it's seeming more and more and more to Greg Norman. It seems like this guy might be the problem on why Live is not growing into something huge. You know what I mean? I didn't know enough about the guy. I mean, we started talking about him and getting to know him a little bit more since podcast 1, 2, when we first started talking about Live and growing into this guy, and to see what type of person he is. I don't know. It doesn't sound like he's a bad guy. It sounds like he's done some shady stuff in the past, past players and the business model of the PGA. But I don't know. This guy's starting this with the Saudi-backed money and giving these guys money, and what it's done to the PGA Tour. You think he gets some kind of respect for that kind of stuff, but it just seems like everyone hates the guy and wants him gone.
Yeah, I don't. It just seems like they're afraid of him almost, because he's been this way since, what was it, 1996, 1994, when he said that he wanted to start a new world tour where that was going to rival the PGA Tour, because he was unhappy with some of the things going on there. But I just think that that's kind of what that is. Like, maybe you're right. Maybe he should garner some respect because of what he's done here. I don't know. There's still a lot to play out. I've always been of the opinion that it's actually more about the majors saying yes to the Live players and saying, yes, you can play. Because if they do, that legacy piece is definitely intact. If the majors said no, this is just some tour that people go to. Right? But it's all about the majors. That's where your legacy is decided. And so now that Cam Smith can continue to play in majors, now that Dustin Johnson can continue to play in majors and build his legend, his repertoire, I think the Live Tour has officially been legitimized. That there's a few, I still have plenty of questions, but I think for me, it's been the majors the whole time.
In utility sports, okay, Austin, I know you guys don't focus too much on the golf side of stuff, but I'm sure when you're doing your research and your sports stuff and all that stuff, you've heard of the Masters, you've heard of the Open, you've heard of the PGA Championship. I mean, you've heard some of these elevated events. There's 4 of them. I mean, the biggest one being the Masters, and them saying that Live players can play in that tournament. You're, as kind of like a guy that doesn't follow golf like Nate and I, when you hear about the winner of the Masters, I mean, that's about all you're hearing in the golf world, correct? Like the big events.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the extent of what I hear about is the 4 majors that you hear about all the time. And that's honestly what pulls people in to refollow it for the time being. Like when I see the results, I'd like to, go and check in on it. And, for us that are kind of tilting the balance of not sure if we're into golf or not, the majors are such a big deal. Now, let me prompt you guys with this, because maybe you have your own opinions and maybe other intel you've heard. Now, we talk about legitimacy. Nate had brought that up. The legitimacy has been solidified with the idea that, it's okay to play in the majors if you're a part of the LIV Tour, correct? Now, was there money exchanged for the committees of these majors from LIV that we did not hear about? Now that could be my conspiracy, but if we talk about actually becoming legitimate, and we knew the pathway was, for these majors to allow these guys to go ahead and be a part of it, to me, I think there's some money that was exchanged, to be honest with you. But I don't know, that could be my conspiracy. I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are for sure.
Well, I think that's probably true. I think it almost had to be this whole thing. I mean, if you go back and you look at how much they recently gave to Ronaldo to go play soccer on whatever Saudi league he signed up on, that's a whole world I don't know a ton about. But between that and the money that they're paying to these guys here with golf, first of all, it seems like they're really trying to break into sports. And two, there's no amount of money that's too much. I would assume that there's plenty of money changing hands here.
So, and here's another thing too. Like, there is going to be an exchange of money that no one's going to know about. It's just not on the books. You know what I mean? It's just this level of elite people that can just move money around in so many different ways that even if you thought and wanted to prove it, it'd be so hard to do it, just because they can do it in ways of favors and not even just money itself, but just different ways around it. I mean, stocks and whatever. I mean, there's just so many ways to move money around and stuff like that. So you could conspiracies are all just conspiracies until they're true, right?
Right. Absolutely. And I just wanted to know, because I think that's a very real possibility. And, like you said, with these elites exchanging hands, exchanging money, I think that's a very, very fair question that we have to ask. Like, what was, and maybe you guys have a little more intel on the idea of, what was that conversation initially looking like with the majors? I mean, were they hesitant at first? What was the instant reaction when they were prompted with this?
Hey, real quick. So with the LIV guys, and this is where I was leading to that when I was asking Austin this earlier. So when I was asking you about these, you following just the four majors, okay, for LIV to really take off without the broadcast and stuff like that, I think that these LIV players have to do well in these Masters. In these in the majors. They have to. Cameron Smith, if he wins this, an average guy's not going to know that Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, and Cameron Smith are LIV guys. They're just, oh yeah, those are golfers. Yeah, I've heard of those guys before. They're not going to realize that these guys made the jump to LIV to PGA. But now let's say Austin sees some of these guys on the top 3 leaderboard, and he's like, oh, who's Cameron Smith? I remember this guy. He's got the mullet. Oh, he's with LIV? LIV? Yeah, what's LIV all? And then they go down that rabbit hole and they get some into that. So I think for, aside from Greg Norman having to go in a broadcast deal, I think now that these guys are in the majors, a win by a LIV player will put a big stamp in beating some of these guys that are in the PGA, saying, hey, we're not playing as much golf as you guys, and we're still just as good as you guys.
So that's what I was just going to say. Rory would say that they'll just get tired after round 3. They won't have round 4 in them because they only play 54 holes. They won't even know, wait, we got to play a 4th round? They'll be on a flight back home or something for a month or whatever it is break that they get between events. But no, Austin, to answer your question, yes, there was a little bit of uncertainty around what the majors were going to do. The Open Championship, the former British Open, was the first one to say, no, we're going to allow these players to play. And the quote was basically, we're not going to betray 150 years of history to not have the Open Championship be open and to not allow the best players to play. They're like, this matter. Like, this is who we want here. And then just recently as our last podcast, I think, was when the Masters said, yes, we're going to allow LIV players to play. There's a whole weird backhanded spineless comment about we don't like what's happening here, but we can't not have these guys playing because they're really good. And so for me, that means that 2 of the 4 have said, yes, we're going to allow. How do the other 2 not fall in line?
Right.
How do you not allow live players to play in 2 of them, but then 2 of them say yes? It just doesn't make sense. I think they're all going to say yes eventually. They haven't yet because the Masters is the first one, and the pressure's mounting to send out invites and get that field set. So they had to say something. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's good insight there. Yeah, I just wasn't sure kind of how those preliminary conversations had gone. I think that like you'd said, the other 2 are going to follow suit, because if you have an actual even split there, that doesn't make any sense. I feel like if one's in, they're basically all in. You want the best players in the world at these major events. So I mean, might as well just go with it.
With these,
Right.
what were some of your other questions here, Nate, on the set list here? You got some cues for Brett.
Yeah. So one of the other ones I had for you was every day that we don't hear of, a new player going over to live. Greg Norman's still the CEO. Does that work against live, or in the off season like this, does it not matter yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hurting them a little bit because they're they're already not playing as much golf as PGA, and 2, we're not hearing anything about it. But it's kind of what they want, ain't it? Less golf and more money and yeah. There's just no. It's like bad publicity is still good publicity. You know what I mean? Is
Right.
that how that goes?
One of the last people to be rumored was a couple people was Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele, and Xander Schauffele heard about it on Twitter that he was rumored. Like, he didn't even know. He was like, "What? Oh, okay." And he's like, "No, I'm not going to live. I'm staying with the PGA Tour." So, like, it's almost like the rejection has been so strong lately that I don't know if they are drawing any names in. But then again, Cantlay and Schauffele are Americans. I'm telling you, this is a global league. They're gonna go get John Rahm before they go get, a Xander Schauffele.
John Rahm will be the next guy to fall.
I think you're right. As much as he's like still a PJ Tour guy, he doesn't have he doesn't throw up the walls. There's not like hard lines being drawn about Liv. He's like, I don't know, Liv was good for us. Liv got us a bunch of money. Liv, so I do think that he's gonna be one of the next ones to go. Plus Valderrama, the new course on the Liv schedule, is in Spain, where he's from. So
all right,
let's
let's move to something a little bit more utility sports based, and I'm talking fantasy football. We got championships coming up.
Yes.
Now, Nate, I have to share something with you. Nate, Austin drafted my team when my wife was in labor.
But you still went to the draft. But you still went to
the draft. Made it to the last. I made my last pick, and then I went back to the hospital. It was awesome. It was awesome. I was 12-2, and I was in the NFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl. And I had Jalen Hurts. I had to pick up 2 players off the waiver wires. I had Daniel Jones or Tom Brady. Daniel Jones against the 26th ranked Vikings offense or defense, and Tom Brady against the 25th ranked Cardinals defense. Halfway through the third quarter against the Colts, the Vikings switched to a man coverage. They shut down Matt Ryan, which isn't hard to do because the guy does just. I mean, it's the Colts too, right? Yeah. And I thought we were going to see more of that in the next game. So I overthought this, and I picked Tom Brady. Tom Brady only put up 11 points. I needed 20. Okay. Had I listened to Austin, who told me to pick up Daniel Jones scored 20.76 points, I would be in the championship right now. I'm such an idiot for not listening to him. Oh, I'm losing sleep over it. It's it's bad. It's really bad. I have a problem, and my problem is not listening to utility sports.
That's a tough break. Can I lay out my situation?
Absolutely.
Let me start with this. I'm in the championship matchup in one of my leagues. In the other one,
I got your team up here for you, bud.
You got it up there. Yep. So here's how that went for me, because I also have Jalen Hurts. It seems like that is a common theme with teams in the semifinals and finals, because he's been consistently just a stud all year. However, my playoffs are weird. It's 4 teams make it in this 10-team league. 2-week playoffs. So the first round was 2-week playoffs. This round is 2-week playoffs. Don't love that. Which means that we have our final week of championship playoff week is in week 18. Don't love it. However, Jalen Hurts went down after week 1. He kind of carried me, obviously, in that first week of the championship round, or that semifinal round. But I had Jared Goff available. So I went and got Jared Goff. And he was not looking good. They lost to Carolina. Much to our chagrin, we picked the Lions in that matchup. But he ended up having a better second half of the game and threw 3 touchdowns and did enough. My question is this: does Jalen Hurts play this week?
That's a great question. With the Eagles in the position that they're in and what we had seen from Gardner Minshew, I would not be entirely shocked if they decided to rest him one more week. Gardner Minshew was effective in their last game against Dallas, who universally is regarded as a top 5 defensive unit. They got playmakers across the board. They have a good defensive line, good linebacker play, and corners that can make some plays when needed. So I wouldn't be shocked if they decided to hold Jalen Hurts out, despite if the doctor gives them clearance. So now my question is to you, Nate: do you feel comfortable starting a guy like Jalen Hurts, operating under the idea that it's possible they pull him at some point in the game to protect him?
Man, that's where I struggle, because I think I would just go with Jared Goff again and hope that the Eagles lose, so that and then that the Vikings win, so that week 18 becomes, we have to play Jalen Hurts because we have to get that first seed,
right?
And I don't know, sit him or don't play him or whatever you got to do, because I'm going to start Jared Goff anyway. And then I'd want him for, week 18, the second round of my playoffs. So no, I would say I got to watch what the analysis says and kind of what the feel is from practice, and then decide. But I'm leaning, if there's any sort of questionable marking on Jalen Hurts, then I'll just go with Jared Goff.
You just got to go Goff. And another cautionary thing for you is, if the Eagles do win against New Orleans this week, obviously they clinched the 1 seed. So I think New Orleans is not much of a threat, to be honest. They got a lot of question marks on that offense. Defensively, they were supposed to be, once again, a lock to be a top 10 unit, possibly top 5 unit, but they just have not looked the part. So I think the Eagles should take that if they have Minshew or Hurts at QB. And I'm willing to bet, if there's any amount of doubt in the medical staff's mind, they would err on the side of caution.
Is Jared Goff a viable option? Is he enough for one?
And the Lions play who this week?
Lions play
the Bears.
Yep, Bears.
Yep, the Bears.
Yeah, they played the Bears. And what I will tell you about this Bears defensive unit is, in years past, we've seen some solid defenses, right? I mean, Chicago's had some decent defenses in the Khalil Mack era. Now they've kind of turned the page to where they are shaky. They traded their best linebacker, Roquan Smith, this year to Baltimore. They've made some changes under the general manager, Ryan Poles, who's been super aggressive in trying to obtain draft picks. So In other words, they moved Robert Quinn, their best pass rusher, as well via trade, if you remember that. So overall, what does that tell you? This unit is not as solid as when they started the year. I would have a little bit of confidence because if I'm not mistaken, they're playing in Detroit, right, Brett? Yeah, and the Lions at home are scary.
And they've been doing good things. They've
right,
had a good
they have one of the best offensive outputs in the entire league. So,
all right, here's what we're doing. For the last, we got 6 minutes here, 7 minutes. It's Brett and Nate versus Austin in a Pick'em showdown for Week 17.
In this situation, do we put an E between the N and the S in Austin's?
That's a background story that everyone.
That is the most inside joke ever.
That is good. That is good. So, Austin, we'll go first. We'll let you take second pick. We won't talk about our work league and that kind of stuff and how.
Yeah. Okay, let's
all right, let's move on. Moving on.
Don't push your shirt.
So tomorrow night's game. Nate, who are we going with? Dallas at Tennessee.
Oh, Tennessee! Remember we were like certain on Tennessee last week. I don't remember.
Yeah, Tannehill
against
we were like certain Tennessee was going to win, and then because you were like they'll just run it with Derrick Henry. Well, that didn't happen. So the answer, I forgot who you just said they played, but the answer is not Tennessee. Yeah, it's Dallas.
Who are you going with, Austin?
Dallas.
All right, checking them both here. We're both going Dallas. All right, now we got Arizona at Atlanta.
Oh my gosh, we talk about armpit games of the week. Every time, week. This is the armpit game of the week. The Falcons.
Falcons. I'll take the home team. Stainer.
Yeah.
Or Austin.
Falcons for sure.
The Falcons. All right, so we got Chicago at Detroit.
Detroit, come on, Jared Goff.
Let's go at home.
Yeah, Detroit. That's the easy pick there, for sure.
All right, we got Denver at Kansas City.
Kansas City.
I'm taking Kansas City.
KC.
Utility Sports taking KC. All right, we got Miami at England. Now, remember, Tua has bleeding on the brain. Okay, he's in concussion protocol for the second or third time this year. Probably won't play until 2025 if he can still think.
Man, that's a tough look for the Dolphins.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Whatever happened, back a couple weeks ago, that's a tough look for them. But who'd you say they play? Sorry.
Miami at New England.
Oh, New England.
Hey, is Teddy Bridgewater playing?
Teddy Bridgewater would be slotted to start.
God, I'm splitting you on this one. I think I'd still go Miami, but what do you got, Utility?
Yeah, I'm going Miami as well. Hesitantly, though, Nate.
Yes.
I was almost with you. It's tough to go into Foxborough no matter what year it is, no matter who's at quarterback, and win there. That's just a sheer fact. But Miami's just – I just like their weapons. I really do, and I think Teddy B could get the job done.
All right, so there's our split game. All right, Indy at Giants.
Oh, Giants.
Giants, yep.
All right, New Orleans at Philly. I think that's an easy one.
Philly, unanimous.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
Carolina at Tampa Bay. Now, this is a big game because Carolina is in the hunt. So is Tampa Bay for a division win. If Tampa Bay wins this game, they are in the playoffs.
And a reminder, Carolina beat Tampa Bay earlier this year.
Who was Carolina's quarterback at the time?
Carolina, at that time, I think that might have been P.J. Walker's start.
Oh, I think it was. Yeah,
and now they got, obviously, Hollywood, Sam Darnold there.
I don't know. I think Tom Brady, still, the guy he's just going to he's going to lean on his experience. And
right, and that's what we've been saying all year, though. And I'm the biggest Tom Brady defender in the world, but my goodness, I mean, how many games have I went, it's Tom Brady versus X? Let's lean on Tom Brady. But, man, their offensive line blows. Absolutely sucks.
Tom Brady blows. He can't hit a target, dude.
I don't know. There's something going on there.
I'm still going Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
I'm still going Tampa Bay.
I think we all are. I went all rah for Carolina, but we all end up taking Tampa anyway.
You don't bet against Brady. All right, we got Cleveland at Washington.
This is a trap game, I feel. I feel like, man, this is tough.
Washington.
I was waiting for your answer there, Brett. Come on.
I'm going Cleveland.
I'm going with Nate. I'm going the Commanders at home. I got you, bud.
All right. Pittsburgh.
Deshaun Watson has just been not
He's been
good.
abysmal.
He hasn't played
Abysmal.
for a year and a half. He's still dealing with women, civil lawsuits.
Yeah.
Give him a break. He's finally kicking the
Poor
habit.
guy, right?
All right, we got only about 2 minutes here, boys. All right,
Speed round.
Pittsburgh at Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Jacksonville at Houston.
Jacksonville.
Hands down. San Fran at Las Vegas.
San Fran.
Easy, especially with them benching Derek Carr.
Garrett Stidham starting.
If you look at me and said Stidman or Carr, who are you starting?
Right, facts, dude. I don't care how bad Carr's been this year. I still would start him over Stidham.
All right, Jets at Seattle.
Ugh.
Oh, this one. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm rolling with the 12s. I'm going Seattle.
We got a split. Minnesota at Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Minnesota.
Oh. I'm picking Minnesota too. Because I'm pretty sure that was our only 2-score win game by the Vikings.
Yep.
Rams at Chargers. Who gets home field advantage?
Oh,
Chargers.
I'm going Baker,
Roll with
baby.
Baker, I dare you.
I'm going
Yo,
Baker.
of course.
I'm going Baker. Cooper Cup's back.
Shot clock turned off.
Cooper Cup's back. All right, Buffalo at Cincy.
Buffalo.
Oh God, you guys are lame. Oh, I'll take Cincy. Screw it. This ain't real, anyways. Our work league, though, Nate or Austin, you better believe I'll be having all the best picks. So, well, that's about it, boys. That wraps it up. I don't want to cut us too short. I want to kind of cut it short here, just so we can have a outro here. As always, I'm joined with Nate and Austin. You have no idea how much we appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. Utility Sports. Go on, follow these guys. They got a great program over there. I don't know if you noticed my name change halfway through here.
Wrong side, but yeah.
Oh, over here.
Yes.
I didn't see
On
that.
my screen, it's on the other side. But yeah, this is what I've always been. But any last words for us? And that's how she wrote.